Hi, it's Steve with Coin Stuff I Like, and I'm going to bring you another video on peg leg Eisenhower dollars. I've done a few of them, and I will put the links for those prior peg leg videos in the description of this video. But what I want to do today is just for the fun of it, I want to look at eBay listings for quote unquote peg leg Eisenhower dollars. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a few uh, good listings, meaning they're truly at the right price and they're truly a collectible peg leg. But we're going to see also the bad and the ugly, meaning that some sellers don't know Eisenhower peg legs and are charging high prices for a just a common um, peg leg by design, which we're going to go over in just a second. And the ugly, we don't know for sure, but some of the sellers may be just trying to pull one over on the buyers in terms of the prices they're charging and how they're listing their quote unquote peg leg Eisenhower dollars. So prior to getting to eBay, let's just do a little bit of recap from the prior videos. First of all, a peg leg Eisenhower dollar is one in which we're talking about the R in Liberty, and it's one where the serifs are gone. Here's a 76 type 2. This is 76 type 1. This has serifs where it flares out at the bottom, at the base of that vertical leg of the R. In a peg leg, the serifs are not there. The base, the very bottom of the R is no wider than the upper part of the leg near the crossbar of the R. So it's more straight lines coming down here, and so the bottom is no wider. Doesn't have the serifs as I mentioned, and you'll also see that the distance between the top of Ike's head to the bottom of the vertical of the R gets wider and wider, or the other way of looking at it is the R, the vertical gets shorter and shorter. So that is what a peg leg is. And in the prior videos, we talked about the first part, we talked about peg legs by design. These are peg legs, where the peg leg R, where the entire production, millions of each of these were produced with a peg leg. So it's by design. All right, and that occurs in 71S for the first 40 to 50% of the mintage. All the 72S business strikes, all the 72S silver proofs, all the 76 type 1s, which include the San Francisco copper nickel proof type 1, the silver business strike, the silver proof. All the type 1s are peg leg by design. All of them. The collectible peg legs are the peg legs where the R has been abraded in dye work, whether it's dye repair work or what have you. But you can see some of the field bending here where that was dye abrasion and the R becomes foreshortened. You lose the serifs, and this was a serif R dye to begin with, but then the dye was repeatedly abraded or repaired, and you develop a peg leg. So there's only a few dyes in these particular dates that have a peg leg R. Started with a serif R because every other Ike in that particular date has a serif R, but they ended up with a few dies and a low number of coins from those dies that turned into peg leg are Ikes. So I want to make that distinction. And if you want, go back. I put the links at part 1, part 2, where it goes into more detail. Now, as I mentioned, the peg legs by design. I'm just putting this up. There are millions of each of these coins from each of these years and mint marks. There's millions with many, many dies. So these are not, they should not carry a premium for having a peg leg, because the entire mintage, with the exception of the silver proof, which was about the first 40 or 50% of the mintage, had peg legs. All right, so those should not carry a premium, and sellers and buyers, sellers shouldn't ask for a premium, and buyers shouldn't be paying a premium just because of the peg leg. A true die abrasion peg leg, which falls on other dates like 71D, 72D, 72 type 1, 74D, etc. There's a number, 77D, 78D. And I did a video on this net where Cherry Picker's Guide now lists the true collectible peg legs. I made a video on that. I'll put that in the description of this video. And then also a video about CACG, grading company, now actually attributing peg leg these collectible dates and mint marks. So these started off as a serif R early in the very early die state, but then a clash or a die crack, and they take them out of production, the dies, and they'll abrade them and work on them to eliminate the appearance of the clash or the crack. And they may have to do that again, and ultimately with the abrasion, you look at all these die abrasion lines here. Look at all of them. You end up with what started off as a serif R, the die producing coins, to now a die that's producing peg legs. So a die, there's only a few dies in each of the known date and min marks that have die abrasion peg legs. There's only a handful of dies, and each of those dies did not produce a full production run. So the mintage of a die abrasion peg leg is usually less than the average die production for that date min mark. So this carries a premium because there are fewer dies, fewer coins available. They are less common, and then the design peg legs. One additional thing for context before we get into looking through the eBay. Right now, as of early December 2024, the melt value for a 40% Ike, 40% silver Ike, is just below $10, and a clad Ike, the melt value is about 21 cents. And if you are looking to buy a 1971 S proof in the original government packaging, and it's a peg leg, it's one of those first 40 to 50% of the mintage in 71 for the S proof, you could get them for about $11 to $15. That's what they're going for. Those are sold prices on eBay. And the 76s, because of a little bit more collector interest in the 76S, they might go a little bit higher, but they're still less than $20. So all of these design peg legs you can get for easily less than $20 and probably less than $15 for the silver ones, and a lot less than that for the business strike, at least the clad business strike, copper nickel clad. So there's a little context on the prices that should be asked for a design peg leg. And now we'll go to eBay to see, okay, are there some that are listed that are true die abrasion peg legs? Are there listings with design peg legs, and what are they charging for? So let's take a look. All right, here we are on eBay, and the search was Eisenhower dollar peg leg, and there's 140 results for Eisenhower dollar peg leg. So let's start scrolling through. So here's the first one, and it's a 1971S silver proof. Remember, it's peg leg by design. Probably get it for $10 to $15. That's what this is worth in this original government packaging. This seller's asking $50. Just not right. And further, the seller listed as an FS104. We're going to come back to that number, but there is no FS104 for 1971S Ike proof. Just isn't. And it's not an error because 40 to 50%, the first 40 to 50% of the mintage of 1971S proofs had peg leg by design. It's not an error. Yes, it's true that it has a peg leg. It's not an FS104. Here's another one. This one here is a 1971S proof. It's listed as a rare mint Eisenhower peg leg, listed at $150. Buy it now for $600. It's not rare. I already put up a slide previously. There's millions of these that were produced. Millions. The first 40% to 50% of the entire mintage of the 1971S silver proof was peg leg by design. Not rare, and certainly not worth $600 or even $150. Worth about anywhere from $11 to $15 is what you can get them for. All right, so this one here lists, it's a 1971 S. I'm going to open this up just to take a little bit closer look at the images. And yes, it's a 71 S. It is a silver business strike, but that is not a peg leg. That has serifs on it. You can see those. That's serifs. Let's see what they have. They have a close-up. Oh, they don't even have a good picture here. So let's go back to the search results on this one. And it's not a peg leg. It certainly is not rare. This is a serif R, which is the predominant production, 1971S. There are 4 dies that ended up producing peg leg 1971S business strike dollars, but this is not one of them. Certainly not worth $900 and certainly not worth $50. So I'm not sure if these dealers are ignorant or they are unscrupulous. I don't know, but this is not right. Okay, 72D peg leg variety. So 72D is where there are actual that doesn't look okay. If this is the coin, that is a peg leg, and 72D is one of the die abrasion peg legs. There are a number of dies, but there, maybe 4, 5, 6 dies that produced peg legs in 1972D. And again, there's not millions of these out there. They're not. This is a die abrasion, so this is good. $35 for this is not terrible. It's a little on the expensive side. You can get them. You can probably find them cheaper, but at least this is more fair, and certainly is a legitimate listing for a peg leg. I'm going to skip over this one here. This is just a book, an album. Here's another one. It's 1971 peg leg, quote unquote, asking $90. Buy it now, or $40 is the starting bid. Not worth it. Again, $11 to $15. This is carries no premium. This one here is a good listing. It does say it's a peg leg variety, which is true. They're not gouging you. It's a fair starting. There's 2 bids right now. This is, there's millions of these, but this is a fair starting bid, or we're at the bid at the current point, 8 days to go. But this shouldn't get more than $15, or hopefully not more than $15. This one here is the same sort of thing. 71S proof, asking $48. It's not worth it. This one here, same thing, not worth it. They say peg leg, but that's a lot. That's too much to ask for one of these. Again, same thing, $30 for one of these. Nope, not worth it. This one, peg leg. It says peg leg on it, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't add value. And they're asking $75. So this is gouging for that one. Here's another 72D, which is FS 401, which is a correct listing at this point, because now Cherry Picker's Guide has an FS number, and it's 401 for the 72D. Let's take a look at that image, and yeah, that's a peg leg. There's another one. That's not a great picture. Yeah, it looks like a peg leg. What I'm hedging on here is that the distance between the head and the bottom of the art looks a little bit too close, but this one here, yeah, you can see in this one there is field bending. It is a little bit shorter. It looks like the serifs are gone. So this is a it's a reasonable price. You can find them sometimes less than that, but it's a legitimate listing. It's a legitimate listing, and but yeah, I'm not sure that I would pay $30 for one. But this is a legitimate listing. Here's another 71S peg leg. No, not that price. Let me see. This one here. Oh my gosh, no. Well, what are they saying? Top pop? PR69? Come on now. That's not a legitimate price. 72 with a peg leg, they're saying. No, that's not a peg leg. Sorry, not a peg leg. And I'm not going to even go into the double die, and it's certainly not worth $200. All right, where was I? Right there. This one here, 72 peg leg. Is this the same? Yeah, it's the same seller. Not a peg leg. Nope, not for $500. Another 71S peg leg means nothing. Not for 259. Sorry, not for 259. Sorry. 72S. They all were peg legs. So this is it's a true. There's truth. It is a peg leg, but they all were. Millions were made. 72S silver proof, and $30 is a bit much to ask for that. 76D and a $half and 72D Ike peg leg. Just want to forget the Kennedy for right now. That's not a peg leg right there. That's an Ike. That's not a peg leg. So that is not truth in the listing. It's not a peg leg for that coin. Here's another one with peg leg on the label, but again, that doesn't mean anything. There's millions of them, not worth $83. What's this one? This is a FS103, which that's a whole nother matter. That's a legitimate. Well, it might be. This is a whole nother. That's a whole nother video. Is the FS103s and FS106s. This one here is another one. Yeah, it has a peg leg. It's not worth this. Not worth that. So here's another one. This one actually says silver peg leg on it. Wow. That's unusual for PCGS. They're not putting an FS number on it. This was graded and attributed long before, but again, peg leg, 40 to 50% of the mintage. If you're paying $120, you're paying for that label, but you're not paying appropriate price for the coin. The coin is a PR69 DCAM, okay, but not shouldn't carry a premium because it has a peg leg. 72S peg leg silver. So this is a silver business strike, and they were all peg legs. So I'd have to check to see MS65. I don't think that is MS65 price for 72S silver. The peg leg doesn't add any premium, so that's probably a little bit high. This one here, 72S, that looks like a proof. No, that's a silver. It's an MS66. And they're listed as a peg leg. That doesn't mean anything. And again, I have to double check the going prices, but no. Here's another one, same thing. Here's a 64. 71S silver. Okay, so it's not attributed. It's listed as a silver peg leg. Let's look at that, because there are peg legs, and that looks like it might be one. You can't really, it's terrible pictures, but you look at the T and the Y, you see the left-hand side of the T, how it's sort of, it's much narrowed and smaller on the top bar versus the right side of the T, and the Y is the same thing. So this looks like it is one of the FS401 silver peg legs. It's not attributed as such. So yeah, that's a lot to pay for 64 FS401 that hasn't been attributed. So if you want to get it attributed, you got to send it back in and pay additional fees to get it attributed. So yeah, no, I wouldn't pay that for this. Although it is a silver peg leg and 71S silver business strike. So that's a that's a legitimate collectible coin, but without the attribution, I'm not sure. Here's another one. and another one. So I'm not going to bother checking. So this one, they give you the close-up. This is 71S proof, same sort of thing. $30. It doesn't carry a premium. It should be more than $15. This one's asking $30. Again, peg leg, true, but shouldn't carry the premium. So on and on and on. 76D, peg leg, question mark. Let's just look. No, that's a type 2. Let's look at this. Yeah, it's a type 2. Just look at the lettering. It's a type 2. They all had serifs, and this one still has its serif. There is a 76D type 2 peg leg where the serifs are gone. This is shorter, but this is not one of them. All right, and we'll go back. All right, so we've gone far enough on these, and I think you're getting the picture. $8 peg leg error, $75. All right, that's a peg leg, and it is a 74D. But when I look at it here, no, it has its serifs. So with this one here is a 76D. It's a peg leg. Type 1. So it's a type 1 peg leg. They are all peg legs. All type 1, 76 $8. Look at the letter, see how it's blocked? That's a type 1. The 74D is not a peg leg. Just look at that, it's not. All right, so we'll just cut it there and summarize on the slides. So thank you for sitting through that little perusal of eBay peg leg Eisenhower dollar listings. And as you can see, there is a lot of listings that are overpriced for what is really there, and it's somewhat misleading to in that they're adding peg leg when peg leg doesn't add to the premium. It's nice to add the peg leg in listing in 71S silver proof, but to distinguish it from the one with the serifs, but it doesn't deserve a premium. So, and then if you look at it, how many legitimate peg leg Eisenhower collectible peg leg Eisenhower dollars were there? There was several 71S silver business strikes. There was a 72D, and not much more. They're not that easy to find. So the bottom line is buy stuff you like, but be careful about what you buy. And thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.